Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Leslie Phillips.
Hello listeners, and welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie. You're listening to CIVL on 101.7 FM, broadcasting to the Fraser Valley from UFV Abbotsford campus on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people. Well, listeners, we are delighted to be with you this evening, aren't we, Corey?
Yes.
For another exciting edition of Unlocking Your Truth.
Yes.
With Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Yes.
Talking about all things metaphysical, spiritual, and intuitive.
Yes.
Is that all you're going to say all evening?
Yes.
It's going to be a very exciting show, listeners.
Yes.
Well, let's see, what do we have in store for you this evening? Well, we don't have a guest to interview this evening, so it's just Corey and I, isn't it, Corey?
Yes.
That's right. And we thought that what we might talk about is psychic readings.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, we've been talking about meditation a lot, and we still have a few shows to do in our meditation series, but we realised it's been a long time since we talked about psychic abilities and psychic readings.
The basics.
Yeah, and so we thought what we'd talk about is, perhaps if you've never had a psychic reading before, how do you know where to start? Who do you go to? How do you know if they're any good? What should you expect? What is an accurate psychic reading like? Do you think that sounds like a good idea, Corey?
Let me see. Yeah.
So I just jotted a few things down, Corey, and you can quiz me on this if you wish as well.
No, I would never do that.
Really? I'm not so sure.
Ow.
Yeah, and one of the first things to think about, listeners, is why are you considering having a psychic reading? What is it that you want to get out of it? What are you doing it for? What's the main issue at hand for you? Because if it's something like a very close family member just passed away, then you need to find somebody that specializes in that type of communication. You know, you're not going to go to an animal communicator for that, for example, because there are all sorts of different kinds of readers out there. And so just think about why you want it. And that can help you narrow the search to somebody who might specialize in that. You know, maybe you're interested in past lives. Maybe you are interested in communicating with your pet. Maybe there's another reason entirely. So, how can you be discerning about who you choose? And I've written down a few pointers, just as general guidelines. I think I think you want to go with somebody who has a service mentality, where it's not about them, it's about you. And they don't portray themselves as special. There's such a lot of different kinds of people out there doing this work, and they are not all the same. So some of us have had extensive in-depth spiritual training. I myself had 6 years of very in-depth spiritual training. There are other people that have been to a weekend workshop, and they're all out there calling themselves intuitive.
Some people even haven't been to the workshop. They just wake up when there's, I think I'll start doing readings. I feel like I'm psychic.
Well, and some of them say, I think I'll join a psychic hotline and make some money. And, none of it's real. That's true too.
And not to say that, not to take away from the people that are actually tuning in or have awakened their psychic abilities. I mean, it's possible to wake up in the morning and go, I'm starting to get messages here.
It's also possible to wake up in the morning and say, I need to make some money. I'll join LA Psychics or whatever it is. So I would say, in a way, steer clear of those hotlines. I don't think you know who you're going to get. And I depend on referrals. I depend on testimonials. I depend on finding out about people who have a reputation for being professional and who clearly have a track record of service. And, choose somebody that you have affinity for. Trust your own intuition that this person feels good to me. And also say a high price doesn't always mean a better service, and a famous person doesn't always mean a better service either. You could just because you're famous doesn't mean you're really good. And so that's when you're starting out looking for somebody. And I think the best thing is if you have a friend that's already seen somebody and they can recommend them. Or if they've put some information out there, like, so for example, we have the podcast, we have the radio show, we have a bunch of free information on our website. With an extensive track record of this. And so I would review that kind of information. So, and then what makes a good psychic reader? And, I have a few guidelines that I operate from. And one of my main ones is, if you come and see me, I want to give you information. I don't want to give you advice. I don't want to tell you what to do. If I tell you what to do, I am disempowering you. I'm taking your power away from you. I want to deliver you information to empower you to make choices from your own free will.
I think a lot of people, though, actually go to see psychics and even, doctors and things like that because they're afraid to take on the responsibility of their own lives.
That's true. That's true too. And so, you can find plenty of people out there who probably would be willing to tell you what to do. But I operate very much as a spiritual teacher. I do psychic readings, yes, but I use my intuitive abilities to offer spiritual guidance and to help people move forward on their spiritual journey. And so if for somebody like me, my ideal client or somebody that would work well with me is somebody who is ready to take responsibility for themselves and for their lives and for their healing process. The other thing is, a lot of people want to go to a psychic to have their future told. But in my opinion, a really, really good psychic will not tell your future. If you come to me, I won't predict your future for you. And I will read present time conditions. I will give you information about how the energy is in present time. And again, that is to empower you to make your own decisions from your own free will, because you create your own reality. And I will give you information that helps you clear the path to creating what you want. So I will empower you. And, it's possible there are people there that do predict the future. And some of them do have a good track record of doing it. But none of them are 100% accurate all the time. And I think we've spoken about this on the show. And it's because The future actually doesn't exist. Everything exists. All possibilities and probabilities exist. And the moment that you are in now has infinite choices of the next moment that could arise in the quantum field of reality. So all anybody does when they predict the future is they look at the most probable or most likely outcome given the present time circumstances, and it has a percentage probability that that outcome will be met, and it can change in the next moment.
I think what a lot of people have when they think about psychic readings is they have the concept that they've seen, Hollywood present or television present of this person that knows exactly what's happening and tells the person, and then the person goes out and lives exactly what's happened. It just doesn't work like even Edgar Cayce, who's probably the most renowned psychic, the Sleeping Prophet. He says his predictions are just that. They're predictions. They don't state the absolute that this will happen. He's a prophet. He gives people information of things that could happen. It's like the ghost of Christmas future. This is what could happen if you don't make changes in your life today. And it is very true. I mean, you can do that too, and you see what they have to do today to make their future different.
Exactly.
They don't see nodding.
No, I said exactly. Exactly, that's what I do. You have a desired future outcome, whether it's I want to get married, or whether it's I want to get wealthy, or whether it's I want to get healthy. And I will help you understand what's blocking you from that. I will help you take steps to clear the blocks if you want. And then you can create the future reality that you are wanting. Yeah,
it's like, will I get married? Well, that all depends if you say yes. There's so many variables to the future. However, it's true, there are so many variables to the future, and the beautiful part about it is that you're in control of almost all of them.
Mm. So, another thing is, a psychic reading should help you feel clearer. It should help you gain clarity, and you shouldn't feel confused afterwards. It's not been a good reading, obviously, if you feel confused afterwards. The information should make sense to you, and it should be delivered in a way that you understand, So the person reading you should be able to adjust their energy to just the right frequency to access the information. It's just the right information for you. That is not a step behind where you are, because then you'll just, that was rubbish. I know all that. And not too far beyond where you are, because it would just go over your head and it won't make sense. And, on that note, there's a lot of psychic lingo that we psychics use sometimes. And so we always check in. Does somebody know what a chakra is? Because if they don't, use different language. The other thing is that I sometimes encounter is, and this is just advice for you when you're going in to get a reading, is let the professional person take charge and guide you through the session. Let them do most of the talking, and sit and this is your time to receive. I get some people who come and, they've paid for an hour session, and half an hour has gone by and they haven't stopped talking. You don't need to give a huge amount of information to a psychic because they're tuning into your energy and they're reading your energy.
You're making absolute... it's absolute truth. People need to be clearer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another thing that I think is beneficial in a psychic reader is that they have some kind of reading structure that they follow. There are some psychics out there who will spend half the time telling you their own life story, which is really irrelevant to you. But if they're following a reading structure, so there's a set protocol and a set format that they go through, then you can know what to expect ahead of time, and and you get a consistent delivery. So, for example, when I do an aura reading, I read the 7 layers of your energy field. Whoever you are, you come in, you sit down, and you get the 7 layers of your energy field read. Or if you come in and get a past life reading, I give you the overview of your main spiritual growth cycle. We look at your timeline on Earth, and we pick out, how, depending on how long you're having a sitting for, a number of past lives that relate to the current life. So there are a number of different ways that someone can have a reading structure, and that can be really, really helpful to give you a good experience. And the other thing I would say about a really good reader is it's not about them, it's about you. And so they should be validating you. They should be validating you and validating your abilities. Sorry, Corey? What?
I'm just going to put a call through.
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to answer it right now.
Okay, thank you. Yes, listeners, we have a caller. We normally take our calls after the first break, but somebody's very keen today. So I'm just going to pause what I'm saying, because it's hard for me to do 2 things at once sometimes. And I'll just take this call, and then we'll put the caller on hold while we continue our discussion. So where was I, listeners? I was giving you some information that might be useful to help you decide if you want to have a psychic reading, and if you do, how do you choose, and how do you know that this is a good reading? So I was saying that the person is focusing on you and helping you move forward in your life. And the other thing is, a good reading will have a lasting impact on you. A really good reading will start to get things moving forward for you. And it might take a little bit of time for you to digest and assimilate the information and to integrate what has been said. So you might notice some changes happening days or weeks afterwards.
One of the things I find interesting is that people actually try to test you.
I
find that such a waste. I mean, you're trying to test a psychic, and the psychic knows you're trying to test them. So don't waste your time and their time. Get right to something that will help you.
Exactly. Yes, just choose somebody that you feel you can trust because they've come recommended and you know all about them. And don't ask them to prove it or test them. I mean, in fact, if somebody comes to me and they're really skeptical, I won't read them. I mean, it doesn't really happen these days, but I can see if you're skeptical and you're just there to, pull a leg and have a joke.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, too. I mean, if you're going in skeptical and, like leery and not taking it seriously, not having your mind set on what you're looking for, it's hard to read a person like that. That vibration just doesn't, it's not there, that communication, that intercommunication. Yeah, you can still read them, but you get jittery information.
Well, if somebody's skeptical, they're not going to be able to receive what I have to give. So it's pearls before swine. Why give to someone who's not able to receive?
Exactly.
The other thing is, and this hasn't happened to me for a really, really long time, but when I first trained, I used to read out of the CDM Psychic Institute, actually, in Vancouver. And sometimes we get people coming in who were drunk or high for a reading, and we'd always turn them away because you're not in a place to receive information, and it's not very safe for the reader to be reading you, and your energy field is not stable when that's the case. Now here's a few things that are more like don'ts. You don't want to choose a reader who is judgmental. You want them to be neutral. You don't want them to be emotional or analytical. You want them to be neutral, so that the information that's being delivered is your information to you, and it's not going through their filters of judgment, emotions, and thoughts. They shouldn't be saying anything that instills fear or manipulating you. So if you go and they say, well, oh, you're in a terrible state, let me sell you this magical charm or put a curse on your enemies, then I would steer clear of somebody like that. I noticed the time. I think maybe I should pause and go for a break. Maybe I'll just finish up this tiny little bit and then we'll go to a break and then we'll be open to calls. Yeah, so, and here's the other thing. There's professional limits and professional boundaries. A psychic should never take the place of a lawyer, a financial advisor, a medical doctor. And that's just common sense. But really don't expect them to take the place of those professionals, and it's not fair to expect them to either. A good reader is not going to just tell you what you want to hear. Sometimes people come and they want to be told a specific thing, But if that's not what I see, that's not what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what I perceive about what you're asking.
So you're saying placation is not a psychic ability.
Exactly. And when, the really good psychic readers, we're not really entertainers. We're not there to entertain. We're spiritual guides. We're here to assist you. We're here to help you remember yourself and remember who you are.
And we're not magicians.
No. I mean, some of us might be.
We can't magically just take a wand and just say, okay, everything is wonderful now. You will have a beautiful life. It doesn't work like that.
No, because it's your life and you're creating it. Nobody else is creating it for you. So, it's a brave step on the spiritual path, listeners, to take responsibility for yourself and your thoughts and your actions. A good reader can help you with that journey. They certainly can't do it for you. So you're listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corrie. This evening we've been talking about the subject of psychic readings and how to discern a good reader. How to know that this is somebody that you can trust and what's the signs of a good reader. One thing I didn't say is that they don't portray themselves as special and better than you. They're not all up on their ego, because if they are, then I'd steer clear of them as well. So if they're the seventh son of a seventh son or the fourth daughter of a fourth daughter, and that makes them special, I'm not so sure. All right, we'll be back after these few short messages and we will be inviting our first caller. Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corrie on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from UFV Abbotsford campus on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people. Well, this evening on Unlocking Your Truth, we have been talking about psychic readings and how to get one. And we have a caller on the line right now who wants one, I think. Hello, caller. Who am I talking to?
Hi, Leslie.
Oh,
it's
hello.
Lana.
Hello. And how are you this evening?
Good. It sounds a bit echoey, so I don't know if that's like that on your end too.
No, it's good on our end.
Okay, good.
What's your question?
I've called before about feeling rejected by guys that I kind of initiate interest. Do you want to go for coffee, that sort of thing.
Right.
And but lately there's this other guy, and I think he might be interested in me. And I just thought maybe if you could look at that to see what our energies are like together, or just some information.
Yeah, what's the...
I don't even know how to really approach them too much.
What's the first name of this person?
Oh, I'll call him Kyle.
Okay, I'll sit back and relax, and I'll tune into you and this
What was
person. Sit back and relax, and I will tune into you and this person's energy. Keep your eyes open. Well, he looks like a warm and friendly individual.
So I didn't hear that.
He looks like a warm and friendly individual. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. So let me keep looking. And I'm seeing that the main barrier I'm seeing is it's sort of like within you, and you've said it already. There's a nervousness about connecting with him because of the build-up of prior experiences of feeling rejected. And I'm seeing in particular, and you'll get this, Lana, because I know that you have been a meditation student, and I'm just seeing in your third chakra, it's like you're there's a wariness, there's a protectiveness, there's a keeping it closed, there's a not wanting to step fully into showing yourself or being authentic with this person. But I'm seeing that it keeps you at a distance, and also it's turned into a big thing, for you. And so it's hard to approach a new person from just a fun, easy, not intense, perspective. And I'm seeing this person. He looks warm and he looks friendly, and who knows what the potential of that could hold, but you would it would serve you to, and I know that this is hard when you've been through the experiences that you've been through, but it's almost like I always feel that if you can imagine your life is like a blackboard, and you're scrawling a bunch of experiences on this blackboard, and you've got a blackboard that relates to relationships. But if you could just scrub out everything everything on the blackboard when you begin a new one, and when I say everything, I mean any of the experiences that have tainted you, that have caused you to have a hang-up about yourself or about relationships or about meeting someone and all of that. And just reset the clock and be as authentic as possible, and be as without expectations, just going into the experience. Well, it's a person who seems nice, and we can have a nice conversation, and do you kind of get what I'm saying? So I'm not seeing that this person is I'm not seeing that they're not being repelled at all. They're there, being this warm, fuzzy, inviting person, and are they in love with you at this moment? No, because they don't know you. And so it's like a dance of getting to know you. So I hope that helps. But I'm seeing that you, in general, your energy is looking bright right now. That's the only thing I saw is just in the third chakra, and it's that fear of making a fool of myself, fear of it going wrong again, fear of being rejected, and you only have that fear because of past time experiences. So if you can use your meditation to clear the past time experiences, so they are not alive in you, then that will help you.
Right. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much, Leslie.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank
bye.
you for calling. Bye-bye. Okay, listeners, that was Lana with a question about a potential relationship. And we are taking more callers this evening. Our phone number, our phone number is 604-504-7441, extension 4142, and I will repeat to make sure you...
So that you can go grab a pen and a piece of paper and write it down if you have to.
Yes, 604-504-7441, extension 4142. And if you do phone up live and ask a question, it gets recorded and it gets posted on the podcast, and then you can go and listen to it again and again and again.
One thing I have to say about Lana's call is that nothing happens before its time, and you can't rush into something, and you can't make things happen. Like trying to make a relationship happen when it's not ready to happen is like going bowling, but using a Smurf ball, which is a foam ball, and trying to knock down pins with a foam ball. It doesn't. You're not going to have much success at it. You have to allow it to be, and just be where you are at the time when you are. So, because if you're waiting for it to happen and it's not happening, and all you can think about is it happening? When's it going to happen? You're not going to put out that energy for it to allow it to happen. You have to let it happen on its own. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I mean, I think in a way, I can think of lots of examples where how people meet someone is almost when they've given up that they're going to meet someone, because they've just let all of that tension about it go.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, folks, at 8 o'clock we've got Tutor Johnny K coming on, and I'm going to call him our new music historian DJ.
Cool.
Because he's going to play the 80s at 8, the 90s at 9.
What's he going to play at 10?
I guess the 2000s. He's going to be the man. He's the historian now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we haven't heard him on Tuesday night for a little while, but he's back.
We've missed Johnny K, haven't we?
Yeah, and I think he's going to be here till 6 a.m, he told me.
Oh my goodness, what a marathon. Is he going to go back into the Middle Ages?
Probably. If he did it in 6 a.m, that'd probably be when, 1920s or something.
William the Conqueror.
Did they play music at that time?
I'm sure they did.
Going to a break now, aren't we?
Yeah, let's go on a break, and then I'll read the number out one more time. And of course, we get a ton of questions written to us at info@drlesliephillips.com, and which you're welcome to do as well. But you're more likely to get your if you phone live, right? If you phone live, then you're not in a big long list of people to pick from. You're right there on the air, because we are getting hundreds of questions now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how many did we get last week?
I don't know, but it's become overwhelming.
I've got 6 pages of questions here,
and you don't have all of them. There's another 100 or so that you don't even.
Are you keeping me out of the loop or what?
I don't want to overwhelm you either. Yeah, so it's good to phone us.
Yeah, and folks, just one thing: if you're sending a question in for a free card reading, please be patient, and also understand that it is a free card reading. You're not going to get an hour's worth of reading from Dr. Leslie.
You're not going to get a full past life reading.
But will be a video reading.
10 questions answered.
You'll actually see Dr. Leslie right on the video.
That's right. Yeah, so be patient and be kind, because it takes time. Be kind to me. I'm doing this for free. All right, we're gonna go to a break, like you said. Yeah, I forgot what it was called, but here's a few messages. Well, hello listeners. You are listening to Unlocking Your Truth on CIVL on 101.7 FM, broadcasting to the Fraser Valley from UFV Abbotsford campus on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people. And tonight on Unlocking Your Truth, we have been talking about psychic readings, and we've been doing psychic readings. We've been talking about some guidelines around how to decide if it's a good reading or not. You know, another cool thing is if the person doing the reading records it for you, because then you can listen again and really let it sink in. Really make the most of it.
I've never run into anybody else who does that, by the way.
No, I do it, don't I?
Yeah, I know you record them. You and then you make them available for the individual. But I've never, like in all the readers I've talked to and everything, none of them do it. People can go there and they can, put their cell phone on and tape it if they want. But
my readings have an enormous amount of information in them usually.
Yeah.
And so it's very helpful for people to be able to listen to them again.
So on to our questions for tonight. I've got 3 actual psychic ability questions.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And just to let people know that because we get so many questions in, a lot of them sound the same. Because they're very similar, people have the same questions. I mean, it is what it is. So it may be your question, it may not be your question because we changed the names. B, probably won't be your question because we will not do both, read the question and do videos on them. And I had another point. What was it?
Let me make I can think of a point about this. Yeah, so for example, last month we had about 15 people who asked some version of who is my soulmate? Do I know my soulmate? When will I meet my soulmate? Will I marry my soulmate? So what we did, rather than put 15 videos out that answer essentially the same question, is we bundled them all together and did a teaching about soulmates. And you still get an answer to your question. You get a better answer because you get an education.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. So I'm going to read the first question. Or the third point is, regardless of whether it is your question or not, you can always glean something from it. Like you say about an education. That's the point.
Yes, yeah. I just want to add to that because we're up to about 200 of these video readings now, just about to be posted. We'll reach 200. There's so much you can learn from other people's questions.
Yeah,
you know?
I know I do.
Yeah.
I found it out. I forget which one I had the other day. It was really interesting. I can't remember what it was. I know it was on past lives. You were answering a question on past lives, and it was very, very interesting. But anyway, here's the first question. This question's from Anne in Phoenix. And Anne wants to know, how can I develop my intuitive abilities?
That's a great question. And we could give you a specific answer that was specific to you, but really it would be a general answer that's relevant to everybody, which is, in my opinion, the very best way that you can develop your intuitive abilities is through meditation, is by learning to meditate. And the reason is that our lives are so busy. Our minds are so full of thoughts. We're so full of emotional triggers and overwhelm and reactions and everything that's going on that's filling up our lives. All of that external information and busyness keeps you from being able to tune into your intuition. And what meditation does for you is it helps you turn within. It helps you clear all of that noise because you can learn. I teach specific meditation techniques that help you clear that noise. help you be above your emotions and apart from your intellect. And there's also specific meditation techniques that stimulate and activate your intuitive abilities. So A in Phoenix, the answer is...
Anne in Phoenix.
Oh, Anne. I wrote down A. I'm so used to the videos where I just say the first letter of their name. And Anne in Phoenix. Learn to meditate. I will take a very quick look at your energy and see if there's anything else. I just want to validate that you are very intuitive, and it looks like you are already using your intuitive gifts, and I don't know whether you're aware of that, but it looks to me like you are at least using your knowingness. You know when you just know something? Looks to me like you're doing that already. Get in touch if you want to learn to meditate to activate your intuition, by the way, Anne or anyone else listening. info@drlesliephillips.com.
So this is a question from Renee. And Renee says, I've recently started having intuitive feelings. Am I an empath? Can you tell me?
Well, I would say yes, without even looking at your energy. And I think there's so much misinformation and varied information out there about psychic abilities, which is why I'm writing almost finished writing my next book, Your Intuition Blueprint. You know what? Everyone kind of is an empath because everyone has a body. Everybody's body has emotions. Everyone is spirit. Everyone has a spiritual ability that helps them tune into their emotions. It's called clairsentience. And so when people say, could I be an empath? They kind of mean, could I be clairsentient? And could I be a clairsentient that doesn't quite understand how to be in control of my ability of clairsentience because I'm acting as a sponge and I'm sucking up everybody else's energy and information. And so again, to get on top of that ability, meditation is the answer because it helps you clear out the foreign energy and not be in overwhelm. But let's look at Renee very briefly. And so, of course, the answer is yes, Renee. And also, I am also seeing that you it looks like you are experiencing other people's energy in your space, and that's part of why you're picking up on how they're feeling. So a little bit of meditation goes a long way. What's the next question, Corey?
The next question. Something's blocked my blooming, my creativity. How do I unblock it?
Who's that from?
From Jay. And she's in Coquitlam.
Blooming creativity. Let's take a look. I think I answered this one on a video, actually. But let's see. I'm quiet because I'm tuning into this person. Expectations is the one answer. It looks as though you're carrying a bunch of expectations that come from other people about what kind of life you should live and what kind of person you should be. And in internalizing them and feeling like you need to live up to those expectations, you are not expressing your unique self and your unique vibration. So what is blocking your blooming and your creativity is expectations. And so letting go of expectations that come from the culture around you, the people around you, even yourself of yourself, would I'm seeing that would help get the energy flowing again. That's my brief answer to that one.
I have something for her as well. And it's along the lines of what you said in essence, but just a little different. And it's fear. The thing about fear is it can be very debilitating. If you're afraid of something, guess what? The probability of you accomplishing it, or even accomplishing it, even if you try and accomplishing it well, are sometimes limited. If you can let go of the fear and just jump in, like like you do when you go swimming in the water. You don't know if it's cold or if it's warm, and you dip your toe in and you feel it's cold and you don't want to jump in. But if you just jump right in, regardless of what the temperature is, you're in and you're doing it. And so stop. You're being blocked, but allow yourself the love to understand that you don't have to fear. And even if you don't succeed at what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. And it doesn't matter. I mean, not every cake every baker makes rises properly. Not every loaf of bread is perfect. Not every cookie is absolutely scrumptious. I mean, recipes take time. And it takes time to be able to do the things you want to do and be the person you want to be as well. It takes a lifetime. It takes a lifetime to be the person you are.
Yeah. Well, she's afraid of not being good enough, and she's afraid of not being successful. Yeah. So, listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this evening's show. We had fun talking about intuition, being psychic, what to expect in a psychic reading, and how to choose your psychic, and how to know if it's a good reading, and a few other little tips to end the show. Always, just take what resonates for you. Never give your power away to someone else, because you have actually all your own information that you need inside of you. And what a really, really good psychic reader is doing is reflecting your information back at you. It's nothing to do with them, and it's all about you.
They're just a mirror to who you are.
Yeah, and keep your energy open.
Because it's your life.
Yeah, don't be in resistance. Stay open, be receptive, and who knows, it might really help.
I guess if you look at a psychic, all they are is a script reader.
They read it well. When you do an aura reading or a chakra reading, that's exactly what you're doing. If I read your aura, I am reading the book of you.
Yeah.
I am reading what you have written in your book.
Exactly.
Back to you.
Yeah.
Because you've forgotten what you wrote.
Yeah. Anyway, let's all stay tuned for Johnny K and his lovely music and his wonderful wit. Well, I don't know about that one.
He's the master of quick wit and ready repartee, Johnny K.
See you all next week.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Leslie Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com. where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. You can also find the questions that were asked during this show at the website on our free card reading podcast page, where you'll find a full list of them. Come back again.